Have you ever felt like you're not good enough for a really big job? Maybe you think you're not strong enough or not smart enough, or maybe you get a little shy when you talk. Well, I want to tell you a true story about a man named Moses who felt just like that, but went on to do something absolutely amazing. I'm going to tell you this story because I want you to know that God can use you amazingly as well. Our story starts a long time ago in a land called Egypt. The people of God, the Israelites, were living there, but they weren't happy. The king of Egypt, called the Pharaoh, was very mean to them. He made them work super hard all day, every day, building his big cities and palaces. They were his slaves, and they cried out to God for help. Now, living in the palace at that time was a man named Moses. He was an Israelite, but he had grown up as a prince in the Pharaoh's own family. One day, when he was a grown man, he saw an Egyptian being very cruel to an Israelite. Moses got very angry and tried to help, but things went wrong, and he had to run away from Egypt to a faraway land called Midian. He became a shepherd, taking care of fluffy sheep all day long. He probably thought his life as a prince was over forever. Years and years went by. Moses was now an old man with a long beard. One afternoon, he was out on a mountain with his sheep when he saw something incredible. A bush was on fire, but it wasn't burning up. The leaves weren't turning black and crinkly. It just kept glowing with bright, warm flames. Moses walked closer to get a better look. Suddenly, a voice boomed from the burning bush. It was God. God said, "Moses, I have heard the cries of my people in Egypt. I have seen their sadness, and I am going to rescue them." And Moses said, "I want you to go back to the Pharaoh and lead my people to freedom." Can you imagine how Moses felt? He was probably shocked. His heart might have been beating like a drum. He said to God, "Who am I to do something so big? I'm just a simple shepherd now, but God promised, I will be with you." Then Moses shared his biggest worry. He told God, but I can't speak well. I get my words all jumbled up. I stutter and stammer. The Pharaoh will never listen to me. The people won't believe me. I'm not a good speaker. He felt his speech problem made him weak and unqualified for such an important mission. He was afraid of being laughed at, of failing because he couldn't get his words out smoothly. But God's answer was so powerful and so kind. He said, "Who made your mouth, Moses? Who decides if someone can speak or not? It is I, the Lord. Now go. I will be with you when you speak, and I will teach you what to say." God even arranged for Moses' brother Aaron, who was a great speaker, to go with him and help. So, with a little more courage, Moses and Aaron went back to Egypt. They stood before the mighty Pharaoh, the most powerful king in the world. Just as Moses had feared, the Pharaoh laughed at them. "Let your people go. Why should I don't know your God, and I will not let the Israelites go." He was stubborn and his heart was very hard. This is when God showed his incredible power through Moses. Since the Pharaoh wouldn't listen to words, God sent 10 amazing and terrible plagues to change his mind. First, Moses touched the Nile River with his staff, and poof, all the water in Egypt turned into blood. The fish couldn't live, and the water was yucky and undrinkable. But did Pharaoh let the people go? No. Next, God sent frogs, zillions of them. They hopped everywhere, into houses, into beds, even into the ovens where people baked their bread. Ribbit, everywhere. The Pharaoh begged Moses to make the frogs go away, and he promised to let the people go. But as soon as the frogs were gone, he changed his mind again. So God sent more plagues. He sent tiny, biting gnats that swarmed all over the people and animals. Then came buzzing swarms of flies that filled the Egyptians' homes. After that, a terrible sickness came upon their cows, horses, and sheep. But still, Pharaoh's heart was hard as a rock. He would not listen. God then sent painful boils, like big sore OEs, on all the Egyptians. Then came the most incredible hailstorm ever seen, with fire mixed in with the ice, smashing everything in the fields. After the hail, God sent a huge army of locusts, like grasshoppers, that flew in and ate every single green leaf and plant that was left. Then a deep, dark blackness covered all of Egypt for 3 whole days. People couldn't even see their own hands in front of their faces. It was scary. With each plague, Moses, the man who was afraid to speak, stood before the Pharaoh and delivered God's message. He didn't need fancy words because God's power was with him. Finally, after the 10th and saddest plague of all, the Pharaoh's heart was broken. He finally shouted, "Go, get out, take your people, your flocks, your herds, and leave my country now." And so they did. Moses, the stammering shepherd, led hundreds of thousands of Israelite men, women, and children out of Egypt. They were finally free. They walked out carrying their bread dough, with their sheep and goats following behind, leaving the land where they had been slaves for so long. Their journey wasn't over. The Pharaoh, being sneaky, changed his mind one last time and sent his whole army of chariots to chase them. The Israelites were trapped between the charging army and a huge sea called the Red Sea. They were so scared. They cried out, "Moses, why did you bring us here to be captured?" But Moses, filled with faith, told them, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today." Then Moses held his staff out over the water, and God did the most spectacular miracle of all. A strong wind blew all night long, and the waters of the Red Sea split in two. A path of dry land appeared right through the middle of the sea, with walls of water on the right and on the left. The Israelites walked across on dry ground to safety. When the Egyptian army tried to follow, the waters crashed back down, and the army was gone forever. What an incredible story, right? It teaches us some really important things. First, it doesn't matter what we think our weaknesses are. Moses thought his stutter made him useless for God's big plan. But God saw his heart, his courage, and his faith. God used Moses' weakness to show his own strength. When we feel like we can't do something, God can give us the strength and the help we need. Second, God cares about people who are hurting. He heard the cries of the Israelites and he rescued them. He wants to be our rescuer too. And third, have faith. Even when things look impossible, like being trapped between an army and a sea, God can make a way where there is no way. So, the next time you feel like you're not good enough, or you're scared because something seems too hard, remember the story of Moses, the man who stuttered but spoke to a king, the man who was a simple shepherd but led a whole nation to freedom. Because with God, even our biggest weaknesses can't stop us from doing amazing things. Thanks for listening to this amazing story with me today. I hope it encouraged you. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more incredible stories. See you next time.